Ni kifurushi cha Super Halo kutoka Halotel. Piga nyota 148 nyota 66 alama ya reli. Chagua namba 2 Super Halo.
Halotel, pamoja katika ubora.
Kwanza tulikuwa nominated for top 100 ni 2011. That is the first year about top 100 waliingia as a survey in the market, na Advent was shortlisted. Kitu kimoja inabidi nikukumbushe, nafasi unayopata top 100 mwanzo ilikuwa sio kitu muhimu. Ili mradi you're part of the top 100, ina maana there is no ranking between 1 and 100. Ndio tulivyoambiwa at least mwanzoni. Baadaye naona kidogo mazingira yalibadilika. Lakini 2011 was the first year that we were selected. Na kwa kweli ilikuwa kitu ambayo ilitupa sana as a company, ilitupa sana confidence na tulifurahi kwa kweli. In fact, if I remember correctly, 2011 we were one of the fastest growing cities in the world. Dar es Salaam ilikuwa namba 2 au namba 3. Kwa hiyo mambo yalikuwa mengi, na in the middle of all of this, to get recognition from a professional organization such as KPMG ni kitu ambayo was very well timed. Kwa sababu ndo tulikuwa tunaanza to open up to the rest of the world. Mpaka 2016 tulikuwa tuna participate, na kila mwaka tulikuwa top 100, and then 2016 tuka graduate into Club 101 ambayo ni category ya winners whose turnover exceeds 20 billion. Kwa hiyo kwa vile top 100 ni ya mid-sized companies, nadhani ile classification yake inaisha at 20 billion shillings. Turnover yako inapozidi 20 billion unaingia kwenye Club 101. In relation to top 100, what I can tell you, sisi as Advent, we have a corporate philosophy which relies on giving back. So the way we look at it ni kwamba, because the environment and the economy and the people help us to grow, we have to give back in as many different ways as possible. So we have a CSR program. The CSR program in a lot of companies is restricted to giving charity to lesser privileged and so on. And at Advent, we divide that CSR program into multiple things. Kwa hiyo kuna kitengo ya kuwasaidia toto, healthcare, vitu vingine. Lakini pia tumetenga a small quantum within that budget to help other companies to grow. Because Advent ni kampuni ya Kitanzania 100%. Na tulianzishwa here, we have grown here, and now we have expanded to other markets with the headquarters still remaining Tanzania. So it is only correct for us to help other Tanzanian companies grow. Because ni sawa na wewe, kwa mfano in your family, if you're the first person who graduates to get a degree, unawasaidia wenzako. Ndio, ndugu zako unawasaidia, you help them to grow as well. So that is the view tulichukulia ya top 100. So the way we said is kwamba okay, top 100 ilitushika mkono when we were quite small. It helped us to grow and to formalize and to become a little more professional. Mpaka tumefika Club 101. So thereafter tulichukulia kama responsibility kuwasaidia wakampuni wengine ambayo who were going through the same growth stage that we went through 7 or 8 years ago. So what we did is then after getting the 101 Club 101 hat, we decided to come on board as sponsors to make sure kwamba hiyo program ya Club 101 inaendelea na pia washindi wengine wapate kusikia story ya Advent. They get encouragement, wapate pia na inspiration kwamba kweli inawezekana. If you just you keep following the right business policies, you can also graduate your business to being in the Club 101. Kwa hiyo that's the way we looked at it. Tukasema kwamba tumeanza kama washindi, tumeendelea for 6 years kama washindi. Now it is our responsibility as a responsible Tanzanian company to help other people also grow. As a sponsor, I think of course there is a cash contribution that you do. Which we did along with the other sponsors who have been supporting the event for many years. Since we just came on as a new sponsor, but there are a lot of big sponsors who have been supporting the event for many years. So of course there is a cash component ambayo tuliwapa, and then we were invited to give a short speech explaining the importance that Top 100 has played in the growth of Advent over the last 8 years or so that the program has been alive in the country. And for me personally, Navona, I think the importance for any mid-sized company in Tanzania today to hear kwamba their alignment with KPMG rules and regulations of standard operating procedure and best practice zitawasaidia in the long run, and to see that there is an example in the country which they can refer to is useful. When the company is small, zile percentages zinaonekana kubwa. So I think Kampuni, ukumbuke, imeanzishwa 1994. Kwa hiyo it has enjoyed 20-30% growth every year for the first decade or so, 10-15 years, until it gets to a stage where now you become one of the top 2 biggest companies in the country. Then of course percentages zinapungua of growth. But now, even now, we are still looking at a 10-20% growth from 2018 onwards. Kipindi ya 2016 and 17 was a difficult time for the economy. Then all companies saw a slowdown in their growth. But 2018, again, we are seeing that the market is picking up. In terms of specific names, I don't think I should be divulging that information bila idhini yao. Like, what I can tell you is small companies, mid-sized companies who want to fata all the time to ask for help and guidance. And I think we must be one of the only companies ambayo hatuiangalii hiyo approach as competition. In fact, mara nyingi unaweza kukuta kwamba sisi tunawasaidia wakandarasi wadogo because sisi ni wakandarasi. But when other construction companies come to us and they say, can you please teach us how to grow? We prefer to help them because tunaona kwamba the market is a big, vibrant market. Ili mradi tunawasaidia Watanzania wenzetu to grow their businesses, it's not a bad thing. Competition is good, and overall it helps to create a even and fair playing field. Advent is 100% Tanzanian. We believe in demonstrating kwamba Tanzanian companies can also compete with these international companies ambazo zinakuja into our country. Mara nyingi hizi companies, in fact 90% of the time, hizi companies zinamilikiwa na serikali ya nchi yao. For example, China, most of the big construction ambayo inafanyika Tanzania inafanyika na companies za Kichina ambazo zinamilikiwa na serikali yao. Most of them are majority owned by the government. Lakini we don't let that stop us in terms of competition. And the way we achieve this is kwamba hizi companies zingine wanatumia njia ambayo is not straightforward. They use politics, they use corruption in many ways. They do all sorts of funny things. For us, we're a private company, we don't believe in those sorts of things. We believe in quality. Na nadhani time has proven over and over again that if you deliver a good quality product, if you're an honest and reliable supplier of any service or product, your company will do well. And what Advent does is to constantly keep growing in terms of giving better service to our clients, in terms of giving better quality of construction to our clients, and by being responsible and honest. So I think it's a very simple thing to do, but it's very difficult to execute in a large company such as ours. So we have stuck to those core philosophies of quality, integrity, and commercial efficiency. Ambazo zimetusaidia na zinaendelea kutusaidia. Every day we keep investing in new technology, we buy new equipment, we invest in new software, we train our people regularly. We are ISO certified, as I'm sure you know, Gadiosa. We are the first construction company in Tanzania to be ISO certified. For a long time, we were the only construction company to be ISO certified. Nakumbuka at that time, 2013, 14, somewhere there, when we started the process of applying for ISO certification, most people in the country were surprised. Yani walikuwa wanacheka, wanatuambia, what are you doing with ISO certification? Natusaidia nini? Kwa hiyo tumejaribu kuambia kwamba Advent likes to look ahead of the curve. It's not a question of itatusaidia nini, but if it can help the company become more professional, more transparent, even something like ISO, which is an international standard of certification and quality assurance, most Tanzanians don't know about it. But as long as we as Advent, we know about it, we need to see comply. So things like that and that sort of an attitude makes us always be ahead of the curve in terms of the technology that we adopt into the company, and that helps us to keep growing. Nchi yetu sasa hivi is coming out of a soft patch in the economy na inaanza kukimbia tena. And serikali ya awamu ya tano as we all know, is very keen on infrastructure growth na high value construction projects. Tumeona SGR, kuna Stigler's Gorge inakuja, airports zinatengenezwa kila siku. Bahati mbaya, Tanzanian companies are not benefiting from this as much as they should. It is Chinese construction companies and some other few countries, but primarily Chinese construction companies which are benefiting from this growth. Unaweza ukakuta ukienda mkoani, kampuni za Kitanzania za ujenzi wanafunga biashara kila siku. Hawana kazi. Lakini kampuni za Kichina wanachukua miradi zote. I'll give you an example. In the last 2 weeks, Chinese companies have been given, na sitaki kuwataja majina, lakini Chinese companies have been given airports up country in Tanzania. Out of these 2 companies, one company is the same company ambayo walijenga ile airport ya Zanzibar. Na inajulikana kwamba walijenga in the wrong location, wakajenga at the wrong level, na pia wanaendelea kupewa kazi. Kwa hiyo, to be honest, ukifuatilia kwa nini vitu kama hivi vinatokea, it comes down to corruption. There's nothing else, there's no reason why. But unfortunately, in the middle of all this growth which Tanzania is seeing, tunaona miradi mikubwa zinaendelea, ungetegemea kwamba kampuni za Kitanzania would be given first priority in taking on these projects, but that is not the case. Ukienda CRB ukiwaomba list ya kampuni ambayo wamesajili miradi in the last 12 to 24 months, utakuta wengi ni kampuni za Kichina, sio kampuni za Kitanzania. Bahati mbaya, hakuna procuring entity Tanzania mpaka leo. Kuna vitu viwili. Kuna local content enhancement policy which is specific to the oil and gas sector. Alafu there is a law which says that the minimum contract size for a foreign company to take ni 10 billion shillings. There is not one procurement entity in the country ambayo wame respect hiyo law ya 10 billion shillings Tanzanian contractors. Na sisi as Advent, as associations of contractors, as Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, tunajaribu sana kupiga makelele to ask what is going on. Kwa nini hawaheshimu? Lakini unfortunately the procuring entities they have their own ways of working around the requirements. Na kwa kweli Tanzania today ina wakandarasi zaidi ya 9,000 who are registered with the CRB. I can tell you, wengi within that, unajua construction is not an easy business. Ukipewa mradi wa barabara ndogo au jengo ndogo, the size of the equipment na value ya equipment inabidi ununue kufanya ule mradi sio ndogo. Kwa hiyo mkandarasi ana invest kununua grader, kununua bulldozer, kununua excavator, whatever. Mwisho wa siku hapati kazi. Kazi inaenda kwa Wachina. Kwa hiyo naye anashindwa. Then on the next day somebody akimfuata akimwambia bana nipe kiasi fulani nitakupa kazi. Hawezi kukataa. Kwa hiyo kusema kwamba private sector au construction industry in particular, local contractors wana corruption na mambo mengine, wanalazimishwa. Hamna mtu anapenda kutoa hela to get a project. If he can keep it for himself, why would he share it? Lakini mazingira kidogo yanawalazimisha wenzangu wa Tanzania wakandarasi wanashindwa kupata kazi. Tukisema kwamba the companies are family owned and no maana financial institutions, they don't look at them favorably, I think there is a funny position for financial institutions to take. Kwa sababu if you look at the biggest construction companies in the world, let me give you an example. Bechtel Construction, I don't remember the figures off the top of my head, but it's an American construction company and is still one of the world's top 5 construction companies, still family owned. Kwa hiyo a business being family owned or being a corporate or being a public listed company is not relevant to how the financial institutions should look at that business. If anything, a family owned business in which the shareholding is contained within a small number of people who have a vested interest in success is easier to collateralize than a public institution. What I can say, however, is that the banking sector in our country today is having to work harder than they have worked in the past, because in the past they were quite selective about the people that they wanted to give loans to, because there was a lot of business for them to be done. Now, at the moment, the banking sector has become a little more careful as to, not careful, they have become a little more conscious of the need for them to work hard and get customers. So they're opening up. But all these years, traditionally, the banking sector would charge you, the smaller you are, the more interest you paid. So it's an absolutely inverse ratio in terms of what somebody needs, because when you're small is when you need the most help to get access to easy financing. To handle situations like that, there's efforts from the Contractors Registration Board. Ambayo walitenga now, they put aside a small fund to help contractors. So finance and equipment, I think, are quite connected. Even the equipment manufacturers today, they rely a lot on knowing the integrity of the contractor they're dealing with, past performance, if there's somebody they can rely on. Even the equipment manufacturers will help you to get financing from the banks. So as we stand today, I think equipment and finance is not as big a challenge as it used to be until 2 or 3 years ago. They can still do it. In terms of technical capacity, let me ask you a simple question, Gadiosa. When your child was born, did you know how to walk? Leo si anakimbia? Alimsaidia nani? So alimsaidia wewe, baba yake, wazazi wake, the family supported him. So as it stands, to say that kampuni za Kitanzania hawana expertise, sawa, hawana. Wataipataje? Si kufanya kazi. Kwa hiyo wawezeshwe basi wafanye kazi, wapate hiyo technical expertise. Kwa sababu hata hizi kampuni ambazo zinakuja zinatumia miradi zetu hapo za Kichina, za wherever, walivyoanzishwa hawakuwa na expertise. Walipewa nafasi by their government. And even today, if you go to China, in any business, not only in construction, in any business in China, huruhusiwi kusajili kampuni if you don't have a 51% Chinese shareholder. Until today. Sasa mbona wakija kwetu, tunawaruhusu wanakuja wanachukua miradi, wanafanya kazi, wanaondoka, without any benefit whatsoever for Tanzanian companies. Ukiangalia, tusiongelee only China, ukiangalia South Africa, Portugal, Malaysia, Brazil, India, America, any country where you find the world's biggest construction companies coming from, they always have a policy kwamba government sector projects will be given as a first priority to local contractors. Sisi kwetu, we have got zero policy that encourages this, and unfortunately it's something which cripples the growth of Tanzanian contractors. Kwa hiyo unakuta kwamba you're continuing for 10 years, 15 years, unaambiwa huna experience, huna expertise. Sasa unauliza expertise nitaipata wapi? Wewe kila mradi unaokuja unawapa wa China, alafu unaniambia sina expertise. There are 3 simple things that we want. 1, we want a financial margin of preference of 15% for Tanzanian construction companies during evaluation. These foreign companies, they are given extremely high subsidies and support from their local governments because they bring in foreign exchange, because they buy equipment from their countries and so on. Ambazo, sisi as Tanzanians, we go to their countries to buy the equipment. Sasa, if I'm competing with the same country where I'm buying the equipment from, I'll never be competitive. What we want is we want a 15% minimum 15% financial margin of preference to be applied immediately at the time of tender. It is not something new. It has been done everywhere in the world, a financial margin of preference. Now, in fact, our PPRA laws zinaruhusu a financial margin of preference, but it is optional. It is not mandatory. So unfortunately, our procuring entities, hawaiheshimu, or hawaitumii hiyo optional caveat, they never utilize the financial margin of preference. So now what we want is, we want the government to enforce that there has to be a mandatory margin of preference for Tanzanian construction companies ukiingia kwenye tender. Otherwise, we will never be competitive. The second solution that we have given is that there is mandatory joint ventures na kampuni za Kitanzania. Ina maana kwamba foreign kandarasi akija Tanzania tunawakaribisha karibu, because there are some projects that we don't have expertise. Kwa mfano, ukija leo ukiniambia mimi Advent or any other construction company jenga Kampuni bridge, utashindwa. We don't have the experience. So yes, we do need foreign contractors to come in for certain projects. Lakini, every time a foreign contractor comes into Tanzania, we want it enforced kwamba awe na joint venture partner ambayo ni kampuni ya Kitanzania. Hiyo mambo ya capacity building ni theoretical sana until you get to site. Ukiingia site ndio kuna capacity building. Haya mambo ya capacity building, local content development, any on paper, it's only theoretical. It doesn't do anything. You have to get to site ndio uta build capacity. So what we are saying is, implement a policy which makes it mandatory for a foreign contractor to have a local Tanzanian contractor as a joint venture partner. Unaweza ukakuta kwamba a foreign contractor anachukua mradi ya 20 billion, 30 billion, 40 billion shillings, which are not huge projects. They are easily doable by local contractors. But then, by having a local contractor as a joint venture partner, inamsaidia na yeye ile skills, kupata experience, na pia to get used to how a project of that size is run. So mandatory joint ventures is exceptionally important for us. Number 3, we are not asking for a new policy or a new law. We are just asking for respect of the existing ceiling, 10 billion shillings for Tanzanian contractors. Kwa sababu sisi ni makampuni makubwa sawa. For us 10 billion shillings is not a project that is extremely interesting, but there are smaller construction companies out there who need the support, who need to get ule mradi wa 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 5 billion, so they can keep growing. And then once they have capacity to execute a project of 10 billion shillings, then the competition can change into competing with foreign contractors. If I quote Mwalimu Nyerere naye alisema, if you're putting one heavyweight and one lightweight in the boxing ring, lightweight anakufa tu. There's no way he can compete. So let the lightweights compete within each other under this 10 billion shilling ceiling, paka wafike ability to compete with the bigger contractors. I think the Top 100 initiative is something that came at the right time, because there is a fine line between a fast-growing economy and a fast-growing economy that does not follow any sort of rules and regulations. And we were not far away from that in 2011, 2012. We were not a very well-managed or governed economy. Nadhani, bringing in some line of discipline, compliance, transparency was excellent for our economy. I think I would encourage as many Tanzanian companies as can to become part of the survey, to become known by the organizers and by the institutions that sponsor this program of the Top 100, because it will help them in the long run. By bringing about discipline, compliance and transparency into your institution, you're only helping it have a stronger foundation. So I would sincerely suggest that everybody supports this Top 100 event as much as possible. Even if you're not a competitor, go for the gala dinner, buy a few seats, go and watch. See the sort of engagement that we have. We are lucky at the moment. We have a very strong Minister of Industry and Trade, Mujage. He was there last year as well. And he shows in his individual capacity, and I think on behalf of the government, a lot of commitment towards the Top 100 initiative, because they recognize the value of that initiative. So I think for companies to take advantage of that situation about to be now on hand is the right thing for them to do. If you've got your governing ministry supporting you in doing it, then obviously it shows that there is merit in you being a part of that program.